Hiya, I'm Hazel, author of Planning a Wedding, The Wedding Planner Way. I was a wedding planner for over a decade in Yorkshire in the UK, specialising in quirky weddings, unusual weddings, DIY weddings, and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of organisation, a lot of marquee weddings, a lot of charging around, organising everything, running about on the day. So I've got a lot of experience of what goes into planning a wedding, and also what goes into running a wedding day as well. So I've written this book, show it to you here, Planning a Wedding, The Wedding Planner Way. Over a decade of experience in one book to make sure your wedding day goes with only the one hitch. See what I did there? So I thought what I might do is read the introduction to the book. And if you were planning on buying the book, it might help you decide if you like my style or not, because often you don't know when you pick up a book or you look on Amazon. You only see what's the blurb on the back, so I thought, well, if I read a little bit of it for you, you might get an idea of what it's about. And I'll also just have a quick run through of what's in it. So we've got, if we go through the contents page, we look at 6 to 12 months before I do. So we've got ceremonies, finding your wedding style, venues, catering, bar hire and drinks, decorations and flowers, photography, videography, the wedding cake, entertaining your guests, transport, wedding attire, hair and makeup. In section 2, which is 2 to 6 months before I do, we've got stationery, preparing the seating plan, wedding traditions, the speeches, children at weddings, and personalising your wedding. Section 3 is 1 month before I do. So we've got the final weeks, the wedding day, and then final thoughts from the wedding planner. And you've also got useful checklists as well, and questions to ask suppliers. There's also a handy chart about cutting the cake and cake portions, questions you might want to ask, marquee checklist, catering checklist, an example wedding timeline, which you can then adapt to. You can make something similar that you can then use on your wedding day, and a full rundown of an example wedding timeline of everything you need to do in the months running up to your wedding day. So without further ado, I'm gonna find the introduction, be at the start, and I'm gonna read the introduction. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice. A lot of time and money goes into planning a wedding, whether your own or someone else's. You want to make sure that the day itself reflects all the hard work you have put in. There are many different things to think about, order, organise and create, and hire, and it can be easy to miss something. You don't want to realise you have forgotten something on the day. As a wedding planner for over 10 years, I've planned and coordinated many different weddings, and in that time I've learned a lot of lessons. You can't know it all when you start out, and each wedding over those first few years was a steep learning curve. Each wedding gave me more items to add to my list of questions to ask the couple or the suppliers, and things to make sure are taken care of. Unless you are a wedding planner, you won't be able to get it right next time. So you need to get it right this time. This book will give you plenty to think about, and it will include real life situations so you can see what could and did go wrong and how it was fixed, or what lessons were learned for the next wedding. You will also find out what goes on behind the scenes as the couple and guests enjoy the wedding day. The role of a wedding planner is not an easy one. It requires quick decision making and plenty of stamina, as I would be on my feet all day. I once wore a tracker and found that I'd walked over 5 kilometres, and that was just around a marquee. If I gave you only one piece of advice in this book, it would be, don't make assumptions. Never assume your partner, family member, supplier knows what you are wanting if you haven't told them. Maybe communicate should be high up on that list too. I've planned weddings where the bride rarely responded to any of my emails I sent with ideas or options. I would have to ask 2 or 3 times over a month, only to end up getting an answer saying she had sorted it. It's hard to plan a wedding when there is no communication. Suppliers are waiting for replies, and the poor planner, if you have one, is stuck in the middle. If you have a wedding planner helping you, do communicate regularly. If they send you something you are not keen on, tell them. They need to know what you don't like as much as what you do like. Same with your partner. Communicate and make sure they are involved throughout. Compromise where necessary. Who is this book for? This book is for anyone planning a wedding. When I say wedding, I include civil ceremonies, civil partnerships, religious and humanist marriages, etc. in the UK, regardless of budget, who does not have the expertise of a wedding planner to hand. This book will cover all the elements of planning a wedding, but it is specifically aimed at couples getting married in locations that are not hotels, stately homes, banqueting halls, castles, or where all the wedding expertise and catering is on hand and included with the venue. That's not to say there won't be useful information for other types of venues. I got married in a zoo, and that included all the furniture, catering, drinks package, etc. But what it didn't seem to include was someone to make sure all the suppliers were there, or could even get into the venue. Or a cake knife was put out, for example. We had to stand around by the cake for 10 minutes while someone searched the venue for a member of staff to get one. This book is also useful for any budding wedding planners, as I will detail the approaches I would take when planning and coordinating weddings. How is the book set out? This book starts with the big items and works through to the details in the order you need to focus on them, and finishes with the wedding day itself. This is set out over 3 sections. The first covers 12 to 6 months before the wedding day and goes through all the main suppliers or vendors you might need to hire. The second section covers 6 to 2 months before the wedding day and will look at personalising your wedding day, traditions, the seating plan, speeches, etc. The third section covers 2 months up to the wedding day itself. So this will include the final weeks leading up to the wedding day, creating a wedding day timetable, and what to expect on the day itself. As this is a planning the wedding planner way, there will be some topics that won't be covered in this book, such as hen or stag do's, as they are typically organised by the couple or their friends. I also was not involved with destination weddings, so these won't be covered either. Each chapter will give an overview of the main options and the differences between them. I will also touch on budgets and give an idea of which options are usually lower cost than others. I will give examples from real-life weddings and situations to look out for or be aware of. At the back of the book will be some useful checklists. So there you go, that's the introduction to the book. Hope that gives you an idea of the sort of information that goes into it. As I say, there's a lot of information in this book, and it's handy and handbag sized. Obviously you can also get the ebook version if you prefer to read it on a Kindle or like Apple iBooks, and also I will put in a link. I am offering a PDF version of my book for the price of a coffee so which is a real bargain. So you can get all this information for about, I think it works out about £3.85 or $5. So though I do mention in the book about UK weddings, only the first chapter on ceremonies touches on kind of the legalities of weddings in the UK, but the rest of the book will cover all sorts of suppliers and vendors that you would have in most Western weddings. So wherever else you are in the world, it would still be appropriate. So it's just chapter 1 that's quite UK specific, because that's where I was a wedding planner. So I hope this has given you a good idea. All links to the book are in the description, and if you want to take me up on this amazing offer of getting the PDF copy of the book for the cost of a coffee, the link will also be down below, and hopefully this will inspire you to read my book. Okay, take care, bye for now.